Well, today on the Gospelcast, we go on safari. No, I'm not going to have animals on the show, but close to it. Young man sporting that alpaca hair. His name is Kyle Rigney. He's from all the way from Africa. He's going to show us how to manage that beautiful broccoli Gen Z flourish. Talk to us about the gospel and so much more right after this. Welcome to the Faith to Faith Gospelcast, where we talk about all things related to God, faith, missions, leadership, side hustles, and what Jesus is doing in the next generation. I'm your host, Tommy Ashiro, and I want to welcome you to the program. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button and come back for a new episode each week. With all that said, let's jump into today's episode. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Yo,
you are the director for HowToLife Africa.
That is such a fancy word. It's basically I'm the Africa regional coordinator. Which
the Africa
when you say director, it just
coordinator.
sounds so fancy.
I saw that on your email. It said Africa director.
Yeah, I gotta make it official, bro.
All right, regional coordinator. All right,
Yeah.
we're getting too serious. Let's start from the top and work our way down. And the top of your head is shiny and fluffy. Let's talk about the broccoli hair.
Gotta flex the curl.
How much time do you spend in the morning getting ready?
Yo, that is a hard question. Okay. In terms of just my hair alone, I always minimum 15 minutes. That is the minimum.
Same.
Is your hair naturally curly?
No, actually.
It's not. It's flat?
It's actually more like, it's either like wavy or like afro-like, depending. So I have to basically, I did not see myself explaining this right now. But basically, so I do like a Brazilian treatment in my hair, which is something my mom
A Brazilian treatment?
Yeah, it's like
what do you wax?
Keratin
you wax
treatment.
the size of your head?
Oh, no. It's like a keratin treatment. So growing up, oh my gosh.
Sorry. I only know one kind of Brazilian treatment, and that's taking it too far. All right,
no. It's basically like a straightening treatment that you put in your hair. So it like straightens out my hair, but because my hair is so stubborn, instead of straightening it, which it does technically do for like a good week or two, is the second I apply a product, I can bring the curl back. So it becomes like more of like a loose, greater curl instead of just like this big afro, like wavy hair. But yeah, it's a process.
Sounds longer than 15 minutes, if you ask me.
No, so the keratin treatment you don't do like every single time. That's more of like a once every like 2 months, 3 months kind of thing. But like it just helps. It makes my time to do my hair quicker. Yeah, because like my hair is more easily maintained that way. But yeah.
Are you one of those dudes who goes to the salon to get your eyebrows shaped?
Ain't no way. No, my hair, sure, but that's it.
You get
but
your nails done?
no, just my.
All right.
I go to the barber shop as every other guy does.
Not every other guy goes.
Oh yeah, actually, people in the States go to salons.
Listen,
that's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Jimmo cuts hair. You could just go see him, and he'll give you a nice tight fade.
I actually would. Oh yeah.
Jimmo's cool.
Oh yeah.
And you wouldn't have to spend so much time fluffing and primping.
Well,
do you curl your hair? Like, do you actually take a curling iron and twist them around?
Just put some like product in and then scrunch up.
And scrunch. Can you do that again with your hand? Show me how he scrunches.
I'm not doing that again.
I'm just wondering what's going on here. He said I scrunch it. Okay. I started with curling iron.
What?
You took it to this.
It's just a scrunch.
He said I scrunch it, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, bro. Oh. All right. Let's move off the hair and on to other subjects. His Brazilian treatment haircut. No eyebrow treatments.
I was born with,
Do you curl your eyelashes in the
flourishing
morning?
eyebrows. Sorry?
Do you curl your eyelashes in the morning too?
No, what do you mean? Do they look good? I don't know.
I don't know. You got a little sparkle going on today.
That's great.
Yes.
Tom, you're making me blush.
Oh All right. So you are not from here, clearly.
Oh.
You're from the great land of South Africa.
There we go.
Where in South Africa?
So I'm in Johannesburg, which no one really calls it Johannesburg unless you're speaking to a foreigner. It's just Joburg. So, yeah, Joburg is great. Joburg is very modern. It's a lot more developed than, a lot of the country and just a lot of Africa in general. So yeah, it's Joburg. I love it. I was born and grew up there.
What is it like? Tell us what it's like. Is it hot most of the year? Or?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, so I don't know Fahrenheit. I'm still learning Fahrenheit. It's all the way in Celsius, but I mean, we obviously have opposite seasons to what you guys have in the US.
Yeah.
So I came from summer, now pretty much recording the podcast in winter. It does not get this cold back home. This is the first time I've experienced like really heavy snow, which was epic. I think it was like midnight, myself, 2 Mexicans, and
Wait. You just went really fast. You said it's midnight, 2 Mexicans.
Yeah, we went to Central Park and we were like rolling in the snow, just having a snowball fight. It was epic. It was so cool.
2 Mexicans and an African throwing snow in Central Park.
Yeah.
Sounds like the beginning of some kind
and
of
one New Yorkan.
New Yorkan?
I don't know. What do you guys call New Yorkers? I don't know.
A Yankee.
A Yankee. Okay.
New York Yankees. You ever heard of that? All right.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. So, Johannesburg, what's it like? What's the church like there?
Interesting. It's nothing that I've particularly seen in the US, but obviously very multicultural, very diverse, which is great. I love it that way. I mean, typically you go to a church, you're not only going to hear English worship, which sure a lot of churches are, but it's going to be English and it's also going to be, vernacular. It might be Afrikaans. Vernacular is just basically a grouping term for like an African language.
All right, so let's slow down.
Yeah. Okay. I speak really fast.
Lots of languages in Africa, South
Absolutely.
Africa.
Oh yeah.
All right, what are the main ones?
Okay, that's a good one. So English is obviously first language for me, which isn't always the case for everybody else. Second language would be Afrikaans, and then one of the 2 more popular ones would be Zulu and Xhosa.
Wait, do that again.
Xhosa.
Do it one more time. It's not an audio effect.
It's Xhosa. It's basically it's a very clicky language. So there's a lot of like clicks in the way that they speak. But I'd say that's probably 4 at least of the most popular languages around. But yeah, it's
all right. Do you
cool.
speak more than one language?
So I can understand but not fluently speak Afrikaans. I mean, growing up in school, you learn Afrikaans and my family all spoke it. But yeah, sadly, I grew up in the burbs, as we say, which is basically like in the suburbs. So it's very English. So I don't really get that exposure as much. So my Afrikaans is not great.
But can you speak it is the question.
So.
All right, let's hear some language in Afrikaans.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Let's how do you say?
Oh gosh, this is terrible. Okay.
Josiah, stop. I got it. Josiah, stop teasing your hair.
Oh my. What? Okay, I don't even know how to say that.
Since we're talking about hair today,
this is why I'm.
Stop scrunching your hair. That's the word you use.
Oh,
Josiah, stop scrunching your hair. Give me
now
that.
I'm embarrassed.
Afrikaans.
I wouldn't even know how to say that. That is crazy.
Use the only words that you have to use, and we'll transliterate.
Hey, this is crazy.
Afrikaans. Josiah, stop scrunching your hair like this. So, come on. Let's go.
I don't even know what would be an equivalent synonym for scrunching.
You can use another word in place of that, and we'll transliterate it and see what it sounds like. Go ahead.
Okay, so to say don't would be like muni.
Muni.
To say hair would be hare. And then, I don't know, for scrunching of I don't know.
This. Wiggling your fingers.
What is a synonym for scrunching? I have no idea.
Wiggling your fingers through your hair.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not even going to try.
Twirling.
I really have no idea how to say that in Afrikaans.
Playing with your hair?
Playing.
Moenie speel met jou hare. Moenie met jou hare speel. Don't play with your hair.
Metro. Horror. Spiel.
Moenie met jou hare speel. Yeah. Spiel. Which just is don't play with your hair.
Josiah, moenie met jou hare speel. What? And then I'll do this.
That's crazy.
Josiah, moenie met jou hare speel.
Oh gosh, that's crazy.
Did I say it well?
Sounds like you're doing black magic. Hey, there we go. Now you're a real African. You're doing the black magic, bro.
In my studio. What do you think? Was that good?
Yeah.
Mooney,
it's not bad.
Metro, money,
I
Metro,
that going much
horror,
worse.
spiel.
Oh yeah.
Spiel. All right.
Yeah.
Don't play with your hair. I gotta put this down. I try and learn languages.
Oh yeah.
And this is on my road to learning Afrikaans.
Oh yeah.
Your hair. Okay, great. Okay, that's going in the vocab test
There
for
we go.
later. All right. Muni Metro Haros
Hare. So
Hare.
Hare. Yeah.
Muni Metro Hare Spiel. Muni
That's
Metro
good.
Hare Spiel.
And that actually wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. That was pretty
Stop
good.
playing with your hair, Josiah.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. So you speak 2 languages, even though you say you're not very good at it.
Technically one, yeah.
Well, this season on the Gospelcast, we are giving away not 1, but 2 full weeks of camp at Word of Life in New York to a boy and to a girl. It's going to be absolutely free, but you got to play the contest. And for details, you're going to go to fmi.org, and you're going to put in your email address to get the contest rules and instructions for how to enter our sweepstakes. These things are not cheap. So go to our website, enter your email address, and good luck. With all those different languages, all right, so I've heard that there's a lot of racism in South Africa. Is that true?
So it kind of depends. It depends where you are in the country. I think there is a lot of like passive aggression that you can pass by. But for the most part, I mean, my grandparents always call us the free generation. It's like you kind of grow up, everybody's, intermingling, everybody's just casual around each other.
What does it mean, intermingling?
So based on the history of the country, everybody knows apartheid, which you guys say apartheid.
Oh,
Apartheid.
yeah.
It's not apartheid, it's apartheid.
That's what I said, apartheid.
Oh my gosh, there we go.
Apartheid.
It's apartheid. Yeah,
Apartheid.
there we go. So that was basically, based on the country's history, that different like races would be isolated to certain areas of the country. In which case, like my race, and I'm not going to say what it is.
Go ahead. Say
Oh,
what it
no. Oh, okay. So my race is colored, which is a race on its own.
Say what?
So like the 4 main races is white, black, colored, and Indian. So colored is like a whole, like we've got a whole culture.
Bro, did you just say you're colored?
Yeah, that's what I am. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm just light skinned, so don't use me as an example. But yeah, it's like similar to Hispanic culture from what I can gather. But yeah, somewhere along those lines. Except Hispanics have better hair. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, so yeah, so it was a case of like different races.
respond to that. I don't know where to go with that.
I don't know.
All right, so continue telling me about
So they
what it
were
means.
isolated to like certain areas, in which case, when Nelson Mandela had come into play in 1994, black people got, they were allowed to vote, and, society as a whole started to change in that, spaces weren't just white and non-white, it was just public space. So, yeah, coming out of that, it was a case of like, okay, well, we grew up in the free generation is where everybody's able to just be, which is great. But there are still areas where it's like, okay, that's a predominantly colored area. That's a white area, like Afrikaans area. That's a black area, whatever it might be.
What area do you live in?
I stay in like Joburg, so like the West Rand, which is, I mean, depending on which side you are, one side is like really white, one side is like really colored. But for the most part, we're very mixed, so it's totally okay. But whereas my family's from like an area called Enadale, which is right next to Aldos. So Aldos the full name is Eldorado Park, which everybody knows is like kind of like one of the landmarks of like the really, really colored, like dangerous areas.
So colored areas are dangerous areas, or
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of like violence and stuff just kind of incorporated into daily life.
So I'm now confused. Do you live in a colored area
No.
or a mixed area?
I live in a mixed area.
Why'd you say it like that if you're a colored boy? No, I'm just saying, you said you're colored.
I am though.
So why are you worried about being from a colored neighborhood? If
No,
you're
I'm not
colored?
at all. It's just, I mean, that's where my family
You're
came
like,
from.
no.
Oh,
You said it like
gosh.
that. I mean, so
Yeah.
wait, what are the 4 races again? White, black, colored,
And Indian.
and Indian. What kind of
Indian.
Indian? Like Native American African? No, just kidding.
No, so I mean, I
Native
don't know what the
African?
background is, but I know like people had like come from India, but the Indian in South Africa has kind of developed its own derivative and culture. So like the way they
Really?
speak, the food they eat, stuff like that, it's not your typical like if you go to India, there's similarities, but it's not the same.
Interesting.
So like when I tried Indian food, because I mean we typically grow up eating Indian food at home, like your curry or roti, or as Americans say roti.
I don't think I've heard. I've never heard of roti.
Bro, it's so
Roti?
good. Oh yeah. So like we typically grew up with like Indian food. So I went to an Indian like cuisine restaurant here in the States, and I was like, this is not at all what I was expecting. It's like there's like weird names for it, but it's like not the same at all. So like Indian culture back home has kind of developed its own thing. So it's not like India and it's not like the States. It's just, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's the 4 races.
I'm still having a
Well, the
hard
main
time
ones.
understanding your nationality as colored because you said you likened it to Hispanic, but you're clearly not Hispanic.
No.
So what does colored mean?
So I don't actually know what the full background is again. Simply because what I've picked up in the States is when you record your history is you can really go quite far back, especially in terms of like family lineage, you know, like, okay, the family descent comes from here. You came on the Elizabeth line, you're now in the States. There's been 3, 5, 6 generations. You've stayed in this area, moved off from here to here and here. Like, we don't really have that, and I can't really record or find my history kind of far back. So when I got to the States, I did one of those, like, ancestry DNA tests, and what my granny called the results was basically like a mixed fruit salad, in that just about everything was in there. There was Indian there, like both North and South. There was Nigerian, 1%. Just
You're
1%.
Nigerian, bro?
Just 1%. 1%, bro.
What?
There was like majority South African and like, you know, what I would call the southern parts of Africa. There was England in there. There was Germany in there. There was a whole bunch of stuff. So my granny's like, yeah, you're just a mixed fruit salad.
Just
You got
scrunchy
everything.
like your hair.
Oh, yeah. We got everything
All
in there.
fluffy and curly and intertwined and
Yeah.
tangly.
There we go. We're the best of the best. We got the best flavors and the best culture. But yeah.
All right. What's your favorite food in South Africa?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean, I think my best food in general
Nando's?
No, absolutely not.
Why not? Nando's is
Absolutely
great.
not.
It's the only place in England
Bro.
where you can refill your drink
Oh,
as many
no.
times as you like.
Wait, you can do that in England? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's kind of crazy. I mean, we don't have any places where you can refill your drink except for Burger King.
So Nando's doesn't keep that policy the same across the
No.
board?
You order your drink, that's all you're getting. You're not
That's
getting more.
sad.
Yeah.
It's like a law over in the U.S.
Yeah,
What?
anywhere here in the U.S. you get unlimited.
Oh, yeah. I
refills.
love that so much.
Yeah.
And
I
even if it's
pur-
behind the counter, you
Yeah.
can go up and they give you a free
I
refill.
purposely drink my drink, finish, and then right before we're leaving, get a refill just so I can take it with me.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, you get free refills. Why not take advantage of it? Nando's is not popular anymore.
Really?
Not by a long shot.
I mean, it's
I-
only just now getting known in America.
It's kind of degraded over time. It's just not that great. It's like you buy a burger from Nando's and it's just like this really sloppy thing. It's like the roll is kind of wet, like the buns is kind of wet because like the sauce is just like soggy. It's like, yeah, Nando's is, to those who like own Nando's in South Africa, please don't like, hold this against me. But yeah, it's just not that great anymore.
But what about
Yeah.
peri peri sauce? Because that's like
Everybody loves peri peri sauce.
That's
oh
a
yeah.
good thing?
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
I buy that stuff in the bottle and just throw it on anything.
There we go. So the sauce, yeah, sure, everybody loves it, but the actual chain, not really, not anymore.
Okay.
There is plenty of better places you can get chicken. We have a place called Chicken Licken, which is like
Okay. All right. That's the last words you're allowed to say. 'cause I
Chicken
just feel
licken.
like everything
It
that
is
you
like-
say is right on the border.
It's
of
like
getting me in trouble.
KFC, but like 50 times better.
Anything that's called chicken and licking is not something I'm gonna eat.
I mean, the slogan for KFC is finger licking good.
Yeah, and chicken in a bucket is disgusting. Like that's gross. Why would you ever eat chicken out of a cardboard bucket?
I mean, it's either Macca's or it's KFC. That's like the cheapest options. If you're looking for something on the go, Macca's or KFC.
Let's talk about KFC for a minute.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Chicken in a bucket with an old man's face on it. There's nothing that sounds delicious about that.
It's great. It's cheap and affordable.
It is great.
And yeah,
I don't know.
that's what we go with. I mean, I literally have like a KFC less than a minute away from my house. So like, oh no, do you guys have crushes? You guys have crushes, right?
I don't know what you're saying.
A crusher is like basically like an ice cream drink with like there's different flavors and stuff. So you get like an Oreo crusher, you get a very berry crusher, which is like berries. There is a like
He's using English words, but I'm
Like a slushy.
like an ice cream slushy milkshake thing. It's so good. It's so good. So like KFC is like known for its crushes, which is why everybody would flock there and get food there. Because it's like, you know, you've got your McFlurry and then you've got your crusher, but the crusher is superior in every way. So yeah, McFlurry is like, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I would like to go to South Africa someday,
Oh yeah,
but I don't think Joburg is where I'd go first.
Cape Town.
Yeah, Cape Town.
We say there's South Africa and then there's Cape Town. Cape Town's a whole different country
Why is it its own country?
because it's such luxury there.
It looks beautiful.
So Cape Town was managed by a different party in our democracy. So there was ANC manages the majority of South Africa, or at least historically, and then there was Cape Town, which was managed by the DA. So I mean, just in terms of like the maintenance in Cape Town, with exception to some of the surrounding areas, which are a lot of the cutted areas, we call it the Cape Flats. But besides those areas, like the majority part of Cape Town is like really, really huge tourist attraction, and it's just been like straight up luxury.
Wow.
It's clean. It's amazing. It's super expensive. It is, yeah, it's out of this world.
Wow.
It's crazy. Plus, it has a Table Mountain, which I'm pretty sure is a World Heritage Site.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. But it's
Yeah.
like its own thing. But I mean, I've seen the cliffs and the
There's-
water. It looks beautiful.
There's so many people that go on TikTok and be like, oh, guys, you know, Africa's ahead of us. Can I show you what Africa looks like? And then they show pictures of Cape Town, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, this
Yeah.
is not Africa. This is just Cape Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cape Town's a different breed.
It's
but-
really pretty.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, you know, we met this dude, CJ, from J-Bay.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
his church looks way cool. He's got like a surf church.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what JB stands for?
I did. I forgot.
Jeffreys Bay.
Jeffreys Bay.
Jeffreys
that's right,
Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
J-Bay
near
is a
Cape-
shortened
Is
one.
that near Cape Town?
Not really, but
Okay.
like it's along the coast.
But it's the same kind of vibe, though, right?
Similar vibe, but Cape Town is still a lot more populated, a lot more like lively, luxury.
Where's your phone?
Right here,
Let me see it.
J-Bay.
No. Let me unlock your phone. Let me see it.
Uh-oh. Why?
I want to show you something.
What are you showing me?
Unlock your phone.
Okay.
Bro. I've never been to South Africa,
Yeah.
but I'm in a South African music video. I can't remember how to spell this girl's last name.
I've got it, actually. I know where to find it if you want me to look for it.
How do you know how to... What did you... Pin it?
No, I can... Okay. It sounds terrible. So I have really, really bad memory, but for like certain things, just like really random stuff, I've got photographic memory. So like I can see the name in my head.
Real.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right?
Did you say you have photographic memory?
So in school, I straight up
All right.
hardly...
Find the thing, and
There
then
we
we're
go.
going to talk about your photographic memory.
I straight up hardly ever studied for like exams, but I would get better marks than other people.
All right. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. We're going to
Let's
test
see.
it. Josiah, while he's pulling that up, can you pull one of my books off the shelf? Let's go for that leadership book. Can you grab that blue leadership book there?
Yeah.
Or let's grab that one, and let's grab
I found it.
Josephus on the second shelf. There you go. That's a good one. Bring those over here. All right. Let me see that video. I'm gonna show it off here. a
Yeah.
little
Her name is Natalie Potgieter.
bit. Yeah, that's what I said. Porketeer.
Potgieter.
But I gotta look at it too.
There we go. Do you see him?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know. That's my claim to fame in South Africa.
There we go.
I'm big in South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
From
Oh,
that
yeah.
2-second clip. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5. At least 5 people from real bands in there. 1, 2, 3. British bands for
Which people? I kind of want to see them.
this guy,
Yeah.
that girl, that guy. That girl's in The Chosen.
She is?
And
No way.
I think I recognize him, but I'm not positive. And I know a few others that are in this thing. Anyway, you can.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
What up?
Before I
Uh-oh.
give your phone back.
Uh-oh. What are you going to
So
do?
I'm just scrolling through your text real quick.
Oh, which text is this? Oh, no.
Who's Madison?
Oh no! Don't do it! Don't do it!
What do you
Why? Why are you going to Madison's chat? There's nothing there.
I'm just asking who she
It's
is.
just a friend from church.
You should
That's
have
what they
had it
all
in
say.
your phone.
I'm going back and checking your...
There's nothing there. We just talk about like church
Hey,
stuff and
it's
events and
okay,
stuff.
Phoning again.
There's nothing there. I swear. We don't talk on like messages.
Just checking.
I'm terrible at responding, so everybody knows to phone me.
Hope
Wait,
you're
no, wait.
well. And
No.
yeah. I just wanted to find out.
I don't know what
if,
this is.
Yeah, we're going to watch Moana 2
There we
on
go.
Friday. So,
I'm
yeah,
just
just checking
seeing what
if you wanted
happens.
to join.
It was a
if
group
you're
of
keen
friends.
to go,
A group of friends?
Yeah. So I wanted to watch Kraken, and they wanted to watch
just let me
Moana.
know. And yeah.
Get up to the mic so we can hear
I
what you're
am
saying.
uncomfortable.
You're
Ugh.
uncomfortable with...
Yeah. Tom.
Oh, she did see my message.
What did she say?
We're communicating now. Sit down so we can hear what you're saying.
Oh my gosh.
She's saying, this is Tom. I'm asking Kyle about your friendship with him right now on the podcast. Well, she read it. There's a red receipt.
She might be busy.
I'll take your photo here.
Anyway, for
Spy.
context, the previous voice note was about passion because I obviously missed out on that yesterday. Because I had passion in South Africa, which we haven't had before that I know of. People said that passion used to be in South Africa, but I haven't had the opportunity to attend.
Yeah,
But it happened yesterday. I had plenty of tickets that I couldn't use.
Man, this is so boring.
What did she say?
This is so boring. Sit down. What are you standing up?
Nothing there.
Get back in front of the microphone. Nobody can hear you talk if you're standing up and squatting while I'm...
I promise you there's nothing there.
This is so much fun. I mean, oh, there we go. She says, that's fun. He's really nervous that I've got his phone.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Should we have a call right now?
Oh no!
This is so fun. I don't know.
You know what she's gonna say?
What's she
Is
gonna
when
say?
you explain what's gonna be like happening or whatever, like that we're doing a podcast, she's gonna be like, "Oh, that's like
That's her right
you're
there.
slaying right now."
Yeah.
She's gonna be like something like
That's
that. I don't
her.
know. Oh, she's gonna say period.
She said,
Period.
sure. Fantastic.
She's gonna say period. Just watch. She's gonna say period. I know it by now.
Hey, Madison. I'm playing some of his voice texts into the microphone and just trying to find some incriminating evidence here.
I love that.
Because you know when
I stand that.
What-
Stand that, honestly.
Yeah. We're just going down and investigating this friendship since I have you on the phone.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
said to him that you would answer and say period.
Period.
So he's over here really nervous. He's jumped out of his chair about 4 times
Oh gosh.
since I've taken his phone. And it'll be very fun for you to watch later. I played one of your voice texts where you invited him to Moana. And now the listeners are all like interested to know, like, did Kyle actually go and watch Moana?
I didn't.
What? You didn't go?
He did.
Oh, you did.
Wait,
No, wait, he didn't.
Not
I
for
didn't.
Moana.
I
We went to
didn't.
previous movies, but it wasn't Moana.
Oh, previous movies.
Yeah, because we go out often. Like,
Yeah. Do
we
you
get...
know why? No. Do you know why Kyle didn't go to Moana?
Uh-oh.
Because
Uh-oh.
he has a problem. Because
Oh.
he has a problem answering messages.
Oh.
So-
That is a problem. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, the invite was there and then there was just nothing, So.
I
we
mean,
went
I
without
did
it.
speak to someone. Someone must have phoned me. It wasn't just that. I don't know.
I'm really interested on how Kyle presents back home. Is he a nice guy? Is he a guy that you have to be careful around?
Oh.
He spends an awful lot of time primping his hair.
Well,
Oh!
Well, he's not a bad person, right?
Oh.
But I feel like if you want to like talk to him, you have to phone him. So like if you send a message, yes, you know, you will be waiting for the next year.
2 to 3 business months. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your friendship.
Oh my.
How do you guys know each other?
From church.
From church. So that's pretty sterile.
Yeah.
Let's keep digging. How long have you known Kyle?
I joined the church in 2022. So from there.
Okay, that's a pretty long time.
Wasn't that just the best person you
Yeah.
met at church, right?
The best relationships usually develop over a long period of time.
Oh. Okay. I think my headphones are getting a bit much.
Kyle's like, where is this going? All right, what were your first impressions of Kyle?
The only thing that I remember about Kyle is like the first Sunday that I came, he was on the stage and he wore like a yellow bomber jacket. It was like, it wasn't cold. Like, it wasn't cold.
Okay.
It was like medium weather. And like, he had this thick yellow bomber jacket on. And that's the only thing I remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
He wears really tight jeans as well. Was he wearing really tight jeans with a thick bomber jacket? Is that kind of the vibe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle's like, I don't
And
know where
he
this
rolled-
is going.
And he rolled these jeans at the bottom.
He
Oh,
rolled
I
his
used to
jeans.
cuff my jeans, which is basically like a certain
Gotcha.
fold over you do at the bottom, which, you know, would kind of make it worse because actually like tightens the jeans even more because it was like, you know, the bottom was just kind of flapping open. So I would literally tighten it and make like a, I don't know. Yeah.
Culturally, none of this is resounding with me. None of this.
Okay, Madison, please admit it. Like baggy jeans or like baggy pants just aren't really a thing back home yet. Everybody just wears like tight jeans. It's a normal thing, right?
Yeah. You know, I think like for women, it's like the bag is like coming in. But like for men, no.
Okay, you see, there we go. I have proof now.
You have proof that your jeans are appropriately tight for manhood in Africa?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, so what do we think about Kyle as far as marketability on the female market? I mean, is he dateable material?
Tell him what happened when I got back from Chicago last year. Oh wait, maybe not, because now I'm like, okay, wait, no. What if the people end up watching this?
Yeah, no, we want those people to watch this. I mean,
Are you talking
I'm
talking about when
There were
when
multiple people.
75% of the way had a crush on you?
Oh, the 75%, that's a lot.
So that's like our like gap year program at our church.
Okay.
You see, now they're gonna watch this and now they're gonna know. That's terrible.
I want to partner with you, Madison, for distribution in South Africa. Is that possible?
Okay.
Can we work on that together
Oh,
when this
gosh.
episode comes out? To make sure
course.
lots of people. All right, so let's go back. I mean, like, so 75% of the ladies when he got back. How many ladies are we talking about here?
So, like, the way last year consisted of 4 people, 3 women and 1 man.
And
So there
which
was, like,
75% were interested in
Obviously
Kyle?
not the guy. Oh my god.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh man, I'm glad we sorted that out. It's the tight jeans, man.
Okay, wait. Maybe I should say 50%.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to
50%.
say 50%, not
Okay.
75%. One is a man and the other is in a relationship. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's the ones that were interested or not interested?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I think, like,
They weren't the only one.
I think-
What? Who said that? What? What? Continue?
I think, like, up until, like, today, one of them is still interested in him.
Really?
Oh, bro.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.
And you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to pick. I've got a couple of books here. We're going to try and quiz your memory here.
Oh no.
I'm going to give you a minute or so here to read chapter 3 here of Josephus because I think that's really boring stuff. And then I'm going to ask you to
It's
tell
been
me.
a few years since I've exercised this at all.
Well, we're going to exercise it now. You've got 1 minute to retain whatever you can retain from chapter 3 there.
Chapter 3? Oh my.
Good.
No,
What's that?
this is bad.
All
I literally have such a bad memory now. But okay.
Go on, get in there. You can't just say you have a photographic memory.
I
and then
did
go-
in school, but I mean, it hasn't been used since, so it's like completely gone.
You
now.
either have one or you don't.
Yeah.
So we're gonna find out right now.
Okay.
Time's up. Give me the book. Photographic memory, he said. Oh, I can remember anything.
No. Oh, when King Hezekiah had survived the interval of time mentioned already. Something, I know the next sentence mentions about him dwelling in peace. Something about 54 years, which I think is how long he lived, and that he reigned for 29.
Whoa, that's like almost word for word. Can
Oh
you-
yeah, yeah. I can. That's how I. That's how I did it in school.
Can you see chapter 3 here? Look at it. Look,
That's
Raise the book a little bit.
right here. He got all the details.
that's how I did it in
Holy
school.
dog.
That's insane,
Yeah.
the gosh?
I
bro.
can
Did
see-
you get it? Did you
I can
get
see
it?
keywords in my
Bro,
head.
that's kind of incredible. So we figured out your superpower here.
If I really put my head to it, yeah.
So he's got fluffy hair.
Oh, yeah.
Scrunchy hair. His mom says he's good with kids.
Yeah.
Madison says that you're a good guy. She didn't.
Wait, just not what girls are into. Girls are into bad guys.
Huh?
I'm a goody two shoes. Oh, at least I mean a weird one, but a goody two shoes nonetheless.
Nonetheless. All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about something that matters. Okay, we talked about all kinds of goofy stuff.
Oh yeah.
So you're the African director for HowToLife. What does that mean? And tell me a little bit about your role here with
Okay.
HowToLife.
Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't know, HowToLife Movement, How to Life, not How to Live, everybody confuses the name, is basically just a Gen Z missions campaign. We have the slogan of by Gen Z for Gen Z, which basically just means that it's entirely youth-led. So we're all about, mobilizing, discipling, and empowering young people to be able to host evangelistic events.
Okay.
Yeah, am I speaking too
Cool.
fast?
No, it's not too fast. I just want
Yeah.
to interject something. So
Yeah.
how did you first get connected with HowToLife?
Okay. Back in 2020 was the first time I had ever come across the name. It was on TikTok, on Instagram, just about every influencer or Christian person, Christian young person more so, that, has quite the following or speaks about Christian topics, was talking about this one particular conference. Now, this is in the middle of 2020, what we called stage 4 lockdown. So, all churches had been closed, all public spaces were closed, all the stores had a capacity restraint. There was just a lot going on. But this conference was called Z Conference, which is basically Gen Z Conference, but it was called Z Conference. And it was absolutely epic. I mean, it was a bunch of young people from all across everywhere talking about such, really meaningful, relevant, but also deep topics. Things like mental health, purpose, calling. There were a few talks out of there that was just like really, really impacted me. That was probably the first time that I had come across, the fact that the disciples were actually teenagers, which was like, wait, what? No way, he just said that, and did some research on it. And I was like, okay, that's actually the coolest thing ever. And then in that conference, which is something that not many people know, and by many people I mean like a handful, is there was a speaker that we were doing a Zoom call with. So at the end of every day, we'd do like Zoom calls that are based on topical stuff. And in one of the calls is the speaker. She was an evangelist, and she just started to prophesy over like 2 or 3 people, of which I happened to be one of them. And she spoke about a ministry that was out there for me that I'm going to be stepping into and, just doing God's work.
Wow.
Which is crazy considering that I'm now in the position that I'm in.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not all about position and stuff, but just that the fact that I would end up in ministry full time, because I wasn't in ministry at the time. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Were you a
that's-
Christian back then?
Of course.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So did you grow up in a Christian home?
We grew up in a Christian home, but I mean, this wasn't a case that I really understood what that meant or anything about it. We'd go Easter, Christmas, the usuals every now and then in between. Which the first interaction, really my first exploration of the Christian faith was in 8th grade. 8th or 9th grade. I was invited to youth group. A lot of my friends in my friend group at the time, I wasn't... Coming out of primary school, which is like 1st or 7th grade, I wasn't the most social. I was very introverted, very reserved, kind of stood behind my mom in conversations to like hide. I was a weird one. So I didn't have the greatest of friends, but I started to get introduced to like more friends and friend groups in high school, to which a lot of them were going to youth group, which was a church pretty much up the road from my high school. So got invited there, started to go a lot more often, started to get really plugged in. By that time, my entire friend group was coming. And it wasn't even a case of like, it was just my Christian friends, it was my Hindu friends, it was my Baha'i friends, like everybody was coming at some point. Just because that was the cool niche thing that everybody was doing, and it was like a chill spot. It was like a hangout spot that we have every Friday night. So at that point, my youth leader had kind of taken me under his wing. At least that's how I would phrase it. But it was a case of he was studying, occult studies and philosophy and a whole bunch of stuff, and the way he would phrase his questions and sermons really, really got me thinking. I was kind of known as the question guy. So every single time, it was like every message or like small group time was my time to like ask questions and just like really keep the conversation going, and just keep people intrigued, for that matter, because I was intrigued. So I was asking questions left, right, and center. If you use a big word, I want to know what that big word means. So yeah, that was my first exploration of the Christian faith. I did take a bit of a detour somewhere along the line, which is a whole nother thing. I sort of fell into the New Age.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I was in the New Age for quite some time.
What does that mean?
Okay, so the New Age is just like, I don't know. It's a name that we would use to classify a whole bunch of like spiritual teachings and practices that kind of people have taken from different religions and different units of thought and stuff like that. That, yeah, I would suppose is supernatural knowledge, for that matter.
How did you get into it?
Oh, hot take. Okay, so yeah, my mother was invited by a friend to go and see what is called a Reiki healer.
Okay.
So a Reiki healer is basically someone who like heals your chakras, your energy, just aligns and balances everything. And then, yeah, which I mean, people usually go and do to try and set their life in order. Like if things are misaligned, if things are going wrong, if your chakras are balanced and everything, it's like you're able to step into that full confidence and take life head on type of thing. So before my mother that's what my mother said, before she had jumped out the car, is this lady who, would have like psychic abilities or whatever, started to talk about me and started to ask questions about me. And I mean, obviously, hearing about that, I'm forward. I want to know what this is. What did she say? And that kind of set me down a path of started to do research on it. Okay, what was this? What is this? What does she do? What does to be psychic mean? What are these abilities? What is chakras? Why energy healing? What are all these things? And that kind of set me on a path for about a year and a half, where I was just straight up exploring, searching about, spent all my free time learning about and trying to practice these things of meditation and numerology, which is basically number sequences that would have certain messages of these what we call angels of light, or spirit guides and a whole bunch of things. There's so much to it. There's so many different layers. I had even at some point attended what people would call ayahuasca, which is a shaman ceremony where you take this drug/tea thing, LSD, hallucinogenic drug.
You did that.
I did that. Oh yeah.
That explains so much.
It was.
Oh my gosh.
It was wild. It's like this, ritual circle. At this particular time, it was in this couple's house. This couple are shamans. So you've got they've got the whole feather, things around their head. They've got a whole bunch of crystals everywhere, like a sacred space. They were doing the whole drumming thing, singing Hare Krishna and a whole bunch of stuff. It was wild. I mean, during that time, people were even okay, I don't want to get into super details about it, but I mean, people were vomiting black. It was weird.
So what did you do when you took the tea?
Yes. This is an interesting one. So when I drank it, so first they blow black tobacco powder up your nose, which supposedly clears your mind, allows you to be more receptive to the visions and things that you're about to see or what's about to happen or take place. There's a lot of studies into people experiencing healing from trauma and just seeing things, exploring things, going into weird spiritual spaces or whatever. But I had then, drank it, which was a little bit in a cup, to which, everybody starts to see stuff. It's a hallucinogenic drug. You would think it would have an impact on your mind and your body. For a few hours, absolutely nothing happened to me. So this runs through the night. and you kind of like, set up like a blow up mattress bed. You lay down and you just go through the motions. Nothing happened the entire time. Halfway through the night, the shaman lady these people are supposedly able to like tune into what you're seeing and what's happening. She comes to me through the night. She's like, no, you're going too far. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Nothing is happening. I don't see anything. Like, sure, my body feels a little bit weird, but that's about it. Because, we're laying there and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Somewhat boredom. So they offered then a second dose halfway through the night, which I did.
Bro,
I took the
he
second.
doubled up
Oh,
on
yeah.
mushroom coffee.
So some people who wanted to take a second dose
Oh,
could.
my
Some people
days.
didn't because it was like you're going delulu at this
Oh
point.
my gosh.
Like I say, like people were vomiting black. Like black was just gushing out of their like nose and mouth and whatever it is, which is, they called it like a purging thing. Crazy.
Yeah.
I took the second dose. Nothing happened again.
What?
Nothing happened.
Bro, are you sure you didn't black out and you just...
I
don't-
promise you, I just laid there, and then by the end of the night, towards the early morning hours, as we had vegetable soup, and everybody was talking about the experiences, and I'm like, what? This is kind of weird, because they would ask you, like, what did you see? What did you experience? What happened? And then for me, it was like nothing, and they're looking at each other, and they're like, you're serious? Like, this is not normal. For them, it was a case of, like, I don't think they'd seen someone where nothing would happen. Now, in hindsight, I genuinely, without a doubt, believe that was just God's protection and God's hand over me in that space.
I would say, yeah.
If it's an absolutely demonic space and these
Sheesh.
demonic beings are getting access to your mind and, showing you and doing things to you, I just truly believe that, God had his hand over that space for me and nothing happened. So, yeah, it was crazy. So, throughout my experience in the New Age and just being in that space is, again, you would have like these synchronicities and like messages and things that you would think these angels of light are sending you, which in the Bible is black and white about it. The Bible really says in Corinthians that, even Satan himself disguises himself as an angel of light.
Yeah, right.
Had I known that beforehand, I probably wouldn't have went down this path. But the reality is I wasn't reading my Bible. I didn't know much about God or Christianity as much as I thought I did. Sure, I was consuming at youth group, and sure, I was being poured into in that sense. But I think from, just looking back at it, as I might have just been interested into spiritual things, because everybody longs for more and everybody wants to know more. So I believe that at somewhere along the line of me, going to youth group and attending church for a while, that I had gotten saved at some point. The Holy Spirit was just protecting me throughout my entire time in the New Age. So I would see these synchronicities and these messages, which at the time were representing change and the Trinity. And I used that and justified that as a way of like, God saying you're on the right path. God is saying that, you're doing the right thing, that all these things that you're learning are just spiritual tools of the fight against, darkness. So they advertise it, they make you feel special, they really know what they're doing. Someone said that when you're being deceived, you don't know that you're being deceived, hence the word deception. I didn't realize I was being deceived, and I really just thought that God was kind of validating me along this path. Only to come to the reality of like, no, he wasn't actually validating me. He was trying to pull me back consistently.
Wow.
Time and time again, it was God calling me back. God showing me like, hey, this is not of you. There was one time we went to a friend's house. Sorry, not my friend, my mother's friend. We were sitting in the lounge area. This is the same friend that had invited us to the ceremony that we attended and invited my mother to go see the Reiki healer. We were sitting in her place. So I was going to take her son down to the pool area. But more than anything, I just wanted to hear the story she was giving. Like, there was, like, some interesting things. She was trying to become a psychic herself, learning about intuition and a whole bunch of stuff. And clairvoyance, which is, like, seeing visions and stuff. So I just want to hear these stories. I was like, I'm so interested. Like, what is this stuff that she's talking about? But they wanted me to take this, like, her son down to the pool area, which is, like, really far down because we were on a hill, far down towards, like, the bottom of the hill in the complex that she was staying in. So as I started to go down, it was a case of like, I just knew without a doubt, and I had a straight up vision that there was this demonic, huge black figure following behind me. It had wings, it had horns, and I just knew without a doubt that this thing is watching me, it's following me, and the further I go, the closer it gets. So out of fear, I went back up to the house, walked back into the house, told him what had happened, to which, being in the New Age, responses to put protection, to imagine this protective bubble that would be around you. It was weird at the time that I told them. I kid you not. I don't remember fully, but I'm pretty sure it was clear skies outside. When I dropped the bomb that, hey, there's this demonic figure following me outside, a lightning strike struck out of nowhere, was really loud. Like, it was like you almost felt the ground shake. The way that lightning struck was so, like, intense. So she had got, like, her psychic, Reiki healer friend on the call to find out, like, what's happening, what. I don't know if it was the same time. Or there was a different time. We were still in the house again. And she had, like, these glass holders that were holding candles. And there was a time that we were in the house, and one of these glass holders had just exploded. Out of nowhere, just exploded. So got the Reiki, psychic healer friend on the call.
Wow.
And she's like, no, it's a message from your grandfather to get out. Stop doing what you're doing. Just get out. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And again, I have no idea what that meant or whatever. But yeah, there were just so many things that should have sent me running, but it didn't.
All right, so how do you come back to Christ? Like,
yeah,
it looks like you went in pretty deep.
Oh yeah,
you drank the coffee, you drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
It was an interesting time. It wasn't happening just to me, and I'll give you context for what was happening, but it was happening to people all around the world. Where, the further in time and the more I began to explore, it was almost like the more I began to experience discernment. Discernment was kind of kicking in the sense of, like, you would meditate and try to communicate with, or just spend time with these angels of light. But it was almost like a flickering image or like a flicking sensation inside of you that was like, no, there's something behind this. There's like a layer that I'm not seeing of, like, like these things are like showing you as a classical image of like being an angel, but they're not actually angels. And I began to experience it more and more, which in the New Age, they would just say, oh, it's just the doubt kicking in. It's just the unbelief kicking in. You just got to, trust and lean into it and just be open to it. Which, again, should have sent me running, but it didn't. So, yeah, discernment began to kick in a lot more. I began to get into, like, a position of silence where I was like, I don't know what's happening. Am I letting in these bad things? Or is, is my protective bubble not enough? Why are these things coming towards me? And the further I got, the more the discernment would kick in. But it came to a space of, like, there was a lady, her name is Doreen Virtue. You guys can go and search up her name. She was leading a lot of the teachings. She was responsible for a lot of the content that was produced for the New Age community. So she would have like these, angel cards, which you would do readings for people. She was teaching about the crystals, the energy, the numerology, astrology. All these things were coming from this one lady by the name of Doreen Virtue. She had taught like a lot of the psychics and people in this space. And she had an encounter with Jesus where she came to a point where she completely rebuked all of her teachings. And this is at the same time of me now experiencing discernment and God kind of revealing to me, like, this is not of me. This is not where you should be at all. Like, that thing of like me thinking that God is like validating me being in the space became to a place of like, no, actually something's up here. Something's wrong. So she came out. She's like, hey, I'm now a Christian. I'm rebuking everything that I ever taught. I had an encounter with Jesus, and she just began to experience this really hardcore persecution from the community. There were people outright on YouTube videos, on Instagram, all these things talking about how don't follow her, don't listen to her, she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's just scared. There were all these things that were just being talked about. There was a Facebook group that was created, kind of like as a support group of people coming out of the New Age, just because waves and waves and waves of people of just God revealing himself to them and God kind of pulling them back of like, you know what, like the discernment that I was experiencing, a lot of other people were experiencing at the same time. And when she had came out and said, well, Jesus is real, the Bible is real, I am turning back to God, I am a Christian now. It was a case of everybody was, willing to take that next step because someone actually spoke out against it. Which, yeah, is kind of how I ended up back into Christianity.
So, like, hearing her story helped you find your way back to Christ?
Hearing her story, absolutely it was like that final straw of like, okay, something's up. I went quiet for a while because I didn't know what to say, what to think. Began to pick up my Bible again, began to pray again.
Wow.
And things just changed. Which, coming out of the New Age is not as easy as it sounds. It's like you start to become tormented by these really demonic dreams which, I mean, I don't know what the science is behind it or whatever, but it was like you began to experience this torment of like this fear that would constantly kick in. Every night I was going to sleep, there was just these demonic dreams constantly kicking in every single night. And I was like, it was in that space that I really began to experience the authority of Jesus, which was the biggest highlight of that time for me.
What does that mean?
It's just the power that Jesus has over these spaces of like, hey, like, I'm standing on a firm foundation. Jesus has got me. Cover myself in the blood of Jesus. These things got nothing on me. And it was like, the more I began to experience it, the more I began to pray and like press into God and read the Bible, is the lighter this would get. It's like, okay, these dreams would stop. And the second I would stop and kind of, fall and just go with the motions and fall back into life again, it would start again. And it would start again. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, how do I get this to stop? Started to pray again. And I was like, okay, it would stop for a little bit and get calm. And I'm like, no way. The authority of Jesus is real. And yeah, Jesus is real. He's got me. He's there with me.
So how long between coming out of this life and then the Z conference where you were
So this is still back in high school. I graduated high school, grade 12, in 2018. So this would have been happening in probably around 2016, 2017, maybe 2018 as well. So around there. So while I was still in high school.
And Z conference was until 2020.
2020.
So you were a Christian for a couple years by
Yeah.
the time you were in lockdown.
Pretty much. Yeah, I was very important to my church at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And serving the Lord or...
Yeah, no, I mean, I had got plugged into youth ministry. I think I was a worship leader at that point already. Young adults, there was... So I had kind of dabbled and helped in just about every ministry in my church except for one. Kids ministry. Oh, the kids.
But Madison says you're so good with...
I
No,
am.
not Madison. The mom says you're so good with the kids.
Sure, I am. But it was, I don't know, kids ministry was just like the one that it required a little bit more commitment, which because I was so thinly spread everywhere else, I didn't get involved with.
But you like working in the nursery, right? Why are you laughing? So good with the children.
Okay, when it comes to like smaller kids, it was a case of like every time they saw me, they would see this big playful guy and they would like jump on me, take me down, almost bully me. And
I see that.
When it came to like a case of like, like, oh guys, like let's get serious or something, like I've got something to be or something to do. It was a case of like they just weren't registering. They were like, no, this guy, we should like play with him and take him down. So like even like just as I'm like walking up to like lead worship at church, it was like all these kids like hanging on me, pulling me down. And I'm like, can somebody please help me? Like I don't know what to do here.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, it's great.
But the smaller that they are, the younger they are, the easier they are to control, right? So I mean,
you would think, not in my case.
Why not?
I can do the high schoolers.
You look like you're good with the little babies.
No, they.
Why are you saying that?
They don't listen to me.
Babies don't listen to anyone. They're just babies.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, but babies are aliens. They look like aliens.
What is?
They just look like aliens. Like. It's only till recently that I'm like starting to adapt. Like, okay, there is a cute aspect to babies, but before that, I just thought babies looked like ugly. Babies are aliens,
bro.
I was like, what is this thing? Sorry, it sounds terrible. It is terrible.
You're a bad person.
I mean, God's working on my heart.
All right, let's get back to the meat and potatoes of this thing. So you go to the Z conference.
Yeah.
How do you make that jump from Z conference to becoming the Africa leader for HowToLife?
Oh yeah. So Z conference was such a powerful space.
Yep.
It was, I mean, seeing young people leading an entire conference, to doing the sermons, doing the Zoom calls, stuff like that. That was big for me. It was like, okay, we actually can do these things. We don't always have to rely on other generations and other people to kind of plant the vision, have the implementation plan, and then we just kind of fit into their plan. It was a case of like, no, we can take evangelism into our own hands. So yeah, it was a case of like, fast forward to November 2022. So at that time, we had reached out to HowToLife and we're like, hey, we want to start something in South Africa. Can we have something in South Africa? Africa wasn't really on the map, as I would say. It wasn't a case of like there was any activity happening in Africa as a whole. So it was a case of like, okay, we started our own mini Bible study. We would have like these Zoom calls. We called it the OGs. It was just a case of like, we created a space where we were just being casual with each other, friendships and stuff, which died out after a while because we were doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So fast forward November 2022, Jordan Whitmer, the guy who leads HowToLife,
Sure.
had came to South Africa, came to Joburg, met with a bunch of us all across the city. And then from that point, he invited 4 of us to do a leadership retreat in the UK. Which now, because this is my first interaction with HowToLife, I'm from Africa, this is an American organization. A month later, we're now being invited to the UK. We have no visas and stuff. I think I had to get my visa like really, really quick. It was like, God, just in the nick of time. It was a case of like, we thought like, okay, are we being human trafficked? Is this a human trafficking scheme? Because now we're being invited to a foreign country.
Are you calling Jordan Whitmer a human trafficker?
It sounds terrible, but it was a case of like, my mother was asking like, who's this man? Where you going?
I mean, I have questions about Jordan, but I don't think
Straight
I've ever
up,
gone.
as we got to
there.
the UK, my mother's like, you're going to send your location. I need to know where to send the police if something happens. If you go missing, where is the last track location?
Wow.
It was wild.
I don't know what to say about that. But it is funny to think about Jordan.
I mean, America's wild. America's wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mom has reservations, but in the end, lets you go.
I end up going. Again, it was just, also God's favor on the process of us being able to get our visa in time, which is not typical of the process. It typically takes a lot longer. But yeah, we go to the UK, and again, we're now in the space with some of these TikTokers and influencers that I've been following for some time.
Sure.
People like, and I'm going to drop names, Elijah Lamb, David Latting.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh, yeah. So some of these people that I've been following now were all in the space, which I'm like, okay, I'm imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing here? I don't know anybody. Everybody seemed like so comfortable and like well acquainted. I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Foreign country, foreign space, new interactions. What do I do? The further time got in and the more we really started to press into like, the training and pret and just interacting with everybody, I was like, okay, these are people in the Christian space. They do a lot of like really high theology Christian stuff online, but at the same time, they are such goofballs. They are like the weirdest of weirdest. Like, yeah, it was like, okay, this could be really comfortable. This is actually not bad at all. This is really fun.
That's cool.
But besides that, it was more of like being in the space of like, okay, these people they're so passionate about evangelism and missions.
Yeah.
And about, Gen Z and just young people in general and pouring into them and sharing Jesus with them and praying for all these places and spaces all across the world. I mean, there were people in that space that were from Norway, from the United States, from Canada, South Africa, Germany, Mexico, the UK, obviously, Malaysia. There were just people from absolutely everywhere. But being in that space, it was the passion, it was the joy, it was the love that became so contagious. It's like, okay, I want this. What is this? I'm longing for like to create the space back home where young people are able to feel empowered, are able to feel like they can actually do something, that they can actually reach their friends for Jesus. Which, going back home, I then started to begin to plan what was supposed to be one event in Johannesburg, which then turned out to be a full-on national campaign.
Wow.
So through the planning and just people reaching out all over,
Great.
the more we began to promote it and connect with churches.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had a full-on national campaign over the course of 2 weekends. It was supposed to be 6 events. For whatever reason, God closed the door on Cape Town.
Okay.
Cape Town is a spiritually hard ground.
Yeah.
When I had cut my hair there, I went to a barber shop there. The guy was straight up trying to convince me to join his cult. It was crazy. While I'm cutting my hair, I'm just listening to him. I'm like, what is this man on and on about? I don't even know what he was on and on about, but it was a cult. And he's like, you should come visit sometime. And I'm like, sure. But yes, Cape Town, unfortunately, the door got closed on that. But we were in Paarl, we were in Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is like, big university town.
Sure.
Different parts of Johannesburg, Pretoria. And it was just a powerful time.
Cool.
It was such a spectacular space of just seeing God move in a way that I did not anticipate. We just thought, we're going to have an event. There's going to be testimonies. There's going to be gospel. I know I'm yapping right now. I'm like speaking on.
It's great.
But yeah, we're going to have testimonies. We're going to have gospel presentation. It's going to be a great space. There's passion. There's love. There's joy. People are jumping up, enjoying worship. But at the second event, which was Joburg West Rand, which is where I am, we had an entire church of about 40 people sort of wanting to help out with the prayer team on the day of the event. It was such a beautiful space. But what ended up happening is, so we had David Lighting, again, really well known on social media for his online digital ministry, is he did the gospel presentation for us at this event. And what ended up happening is the people who were supposed to be on my team, the people who were supposed to be on the prayer team, on the welcome team, doing the thing, these were now the people, along with the rest of the room, who ended up responding to the gospel.
Wow.
Now you got the whole room in the front,
Wow.
kind of like waiting in a space of like, okay, David did a really, really great gospel presentation. It's like, okay,
That's
now
cool.
what do we do? What do we do? Everybody's in the room. We've got like a lot of our team members all the way up there. It's like, who's going to pray for all these people?
Yeah.
We don't have enough hands to pray for all these people. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, Lord, what it is. What do you want me to do? What are we going to do right now? There was a little bit of space where we just, allowed people to just really come to a place of repentance, come to a place of, really wanting to commit their lives back to Jesus. And then grabbed a guitar, and I straight up and just went to sing Great Are You, Lord. And we went back into worship for a bit. But, again, in hindsight, I'm like, okay, my team are the ones ending up responding to the gospel. Shouldn't these people be the people that know it? Shouldn't these people be really already, and we vetted them well. We're like, okay, these people should be well plugged into a church community serving at the local church.
Yeah.
But why are they now the ones responding to the gospel? What happened? Where is the disconnect? For a long time, I was trying to figure out what happened there. Was God was moving in a really powerful way, which I'm really, really grateful. But where did I drop the ball? That's what I was thinking in my head. To which, to this day, I don't really know the answer. God really did his thing there. He moved in a really powerful and mighty way, to which a lot of the people that attended the event are still absolutely serving. They're absolutely still passionate. Every now and then I get a message of when we're having the next event. And these people are now attending all the conferences that are happening all over, which again, I'm not saying, conference Christianity. We don't need more of that. We just need people who are willing to be disciples and are willing to follow Jesus. That's what we need.
Yeah.
I long to create that again. But yeah, fast forward again. I worked in real estate for a few years. That's what I did straight out of high school. To which I then, left real estate in December 2023. Went and did the internship in Chicago, 2024 February, with HowToLife. Did that for 3 months, and then when I came back home, we visited a few African countries. Sort of did some planting in places like Kenya, Tanzania, Namibia, which for the most part had all been a result of my South Africa events.
Wow.
So we had invited, which is now our Kenya leader, to my South Africa events, to which she went back home, planted her own community, had
Wow.
events, which was the first event starting. So 2025 and 2024, the first ever HowToLife events for both years were African events,
Wow.
which is
That's
mind-boggling.
amazing, bro. That's great. And then through another HowToLife connection, we got connected to the global network of evangelists.
Oh, yeah.
And then you joined us this past summer. Tell us about that.
Oh, that was sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
So, got invited by a friend who was coming to the Zambia Chingola trip with the Global Network of Evangelists, which was that was a new space for me entirely. Yes, you grew up in church, and yes, you serve with the church, and HowToLife was sort of similar to, having evangelistic events and creating, Bible study spaces, and just sort of similar to what you would find in the church context. Yeah, attending the Zambia trip was a bit of a game changer.
Really?
This was like a completely new thing to me, which right off the bat, okay, I got the memo of okay, you got to know how to do a gospel presentation. You got to know your testimony. I was like, okay, Lord, guide me. What do I say? How do I preach and teach in this context? What do you want me to say? Lord, here I am. Use me. Send me, Lord.
Yeah.
Which was so much, it's easier said than done. Because, So we got there. First day, we're out. We're in the market, middle of the market. And they were like, hey, Carl, you're going to do the gospel presentation. Sam, you're going to do your testimony. Which I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first day. I haven't even had a chance to learn from anybody or watch anybody. It's okay, I know the gospel. How am I going to do this? How am I going to present it? These people are rushing and doing this thing, and the market is really busy, and there's just a lot going on. I'm like, Lord, okay. I got into a little bit of a state of again, imposter syndrome is kicking in. I'm just a nobody South African guy who, sure, I did some events back home. Doesn't necessarily mean I know much about evangelism, of going into foreign spaces and places, being able to, preach the gospel. Okay, But yeah, did that, which was a learning curve. I was like, okay, there are certain ways that these people respond to better than, maybe what I was doing. As I tried to, talk about the gospel, talked about my life and testimony a bit, and how I kind of just explored spirituality. Because in African context, we've got the aspect of Christianity and African spirituality. So back home, it's like, there's the case of like, you've got a spiritual healer in the family of like what we would call a sangoma. So sangoma is basically someone who communes with the ancestors, and the ancestors sort of have an impact on a lot of the things that would happen in your life. Like if you would get, like there was a time I had a friend's mom who got really, really ill. And she was getting these like really, really blue, purple marks on her legs, had no idea what to do, which the family's response is go and see the spiritual healer, see what he has to say about it, what do the ancestors have to say about it. And like that's, typically how it would play out. So I was like, okay, Zambia, from what I can gather, is similar context. There is African spirituality and there's Christianity coupled together. Mm-hmm. So try to, talk about my testimony, talk about the gospel and how Jesus is the ultimate. Jesus is the only way. Jesus is the way, the life, and the truth.
Love it.
So went into that, which was great, but that was just day one. And the more the days continued, the more people would use these creative ways, like soccer, which is actually football. Guys, that's real football, just putting it out there. So they would use like soccer, and, there was Chaggy who would like, he's a clown. He does like, an actual clown, like with the hair and everything, and would use that to like teach to the kids.
Sure.
And there was, all these creative elements which I had absolutely never seen before, which I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many different ways you can evangelize to people in a way that they would respond, in a way that keeps them engaged. Which I was like, okay, Lord, what is my thing?
Sure.
What do I use? Like, what do I talk about? And they were so good, just like, shouting the gospel and doing their thing, which is where I was like not really entirely confident yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, being in that space was a massive learning curve for me. Wow. It was very inspirational. Again, coming back home, I'm like, Lord, here I am, use me, let's do something back home. So yeah, and that kind of brought me to where I am today, sitting in your studio.
So what does the future look like for you, young Kyle?
That's an interesting one. I'm in the States right now, currently helping plan and lead a massive campaign that we're doing in New York City. New York City, we're planning a really big event on March 22nd, 2025.
Which is probably over by the time people...
Oh, yeah. I figured. That's why I'm like being specific about the date. Yeah. It's going to be at the Salvation Army Theater, but we're hoping that, we've visited just about 70 churches at this point over the course of 3 weeks. Just connecting with them, just building relationships all across the five boroughs, which from what I can gather, so in visiting the different churches in New York, is you can find that the churches are very niche. They're very like catered to a specific group. It'll be like, that's a Korean church, that's an African American church, that's a white church with a long legacy of like, there's like, again, okay, probably shouldn't drop names, but legacies of people that you would know well, that have been doing ministry for a while. But again, visiting all these different churches, inviting them to the event, inviting them to be a part of the team, the welcome team, the prayer team, the worship, wherever it might be, having a Korean give a testimony, having an African American give a testimony. For me, I'm hoping that this would be an absolute like catalyst event to being able to plant a multicultural space where people are potentially going to worship differently, but God is just going to be able to move in that space. Creating a Christian community where people are able to build and encourage and just pour into each other, irregardless of where they find themselves.
That's cool. You're working on an event, but
yeah.
Let's go even bigger picture.
A different version of...
Let's go even bigger picture. What's the future look like for you?
For me, that's interesting. Yeah, so wherever God calls me, I'll go. Whether it's the US, whether it's Africa, whether it's Latin America, wherever it is. Where I'm based right now, where my heart really lies, number one, absolutely youth ministry will always be at the tip of where I just want to begin to pour into from start to finish. Ultimately, I have a huge heart for the African continent. So being in the African space, I love the hospitality there. I love the people. I love the culture. Love the languages. Africa is my home. It's where I'm from. It's where I'm anticipating to be for a very long time to come. And just helping raise up young leaders who are willing to step in their gifting, step into. So a big heart that I have is, as much as yes, the Lord has used me, and as much as the Lord has given me certain giftings and things like, youth ministry and leading worship and stuff like that, my big heart is teaching other people to do the same. So like back at my youth group, we started a youth band. Back at my youth group, it's like teaching people of like I keep like fighting with my fellow youth, like co-youth leaders of like, hey, we need to teach the youth to be able to be like preach and teach in their own spaces, and like just whether it's a 5-minute talk that's topical, whatever that might be, of like getting in that conference to be able to talk about the gospel, talk about Jesus, talk about the Bible, how it impacts our lives, how is it both impacting your life but also practical for other people. It's just being able to really empower and equip people to step into the calling that God has for them, has for their lives. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go into ministry. You can be an engineer and God can still use you in that. You can be a scientist, you can be a lawyer. God will still use you in those spaces. But you have to be equipped to be able to work in those spaces. It's like, if you can't articulate the gospel, how do you talk about it? So I have a big, huge heart for just equipping and empowering young people to be able to figure out their giftings and to step into that with full confidence.
And that's a cool heart posture and focus to have. So that's pretty cool. That means you're going to be probably in this conversation for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on our show today. And my final word to you, Kyle, is Muni Metro Harar Spiel.
Great.
Stop playing with your hair.
Bro, beauty takes time. I'm still out there.
And with that, we are going to say goodbye. Beauty takes time. I don't know how to end off of that, but
God is good.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
Next week on the Gospelcast, our special guest is from all the way out in Dallas, Texas. Her name's Carly Lofton. Don't miss it.